we have been here before. You will all remember that when President John Agyekum Kufuor took over the reins of government in 2000, he was handed a HIPIC economy, an economy that could not pay its bills. And this is the economy the MPP had to resuscitate. After 8 years of good, solid, and I say competent economic management under the leadership of President Kufuor, Ghana's growth trajectory moved from a low to a high growth. We moved from an HIPIC economy to an emerging market economy with frontier status. Our debt had become sustainable once again, and the economy was right on the trajectory for a major takeoff. This is when the NDC came in 2008 to make a case that they should be given the reins of government. In the 2008 campaign, I referred to the story of a mason who, in the middle of a construction of a house, who didn't understand the plan which was being built for this house, wanted this house to be given to him to construct. And I said, this will result in disaster because the mason didn't understand the plan and didn't have the competence to execute the plan. Well, the NDC won the election in 2008. And after 8 years in office, because they did not understand the plan, we have growth in agriculture was declining, growth in industry was negative, interest rates were very high, the banking system was weak, unemployment was rising, national health insurance had returned to cash and carry, and the healthcare emergency system was collapsing. We had 4 years of doomsday, average annual increase of electricity prices was 45% every year, averagely under the NDC. People could not afford school fees for their children. Our finances, after 8 years of management, were in such a precarious state that we had to go back to the IMF. Taxes were imposed on everything, including condoms and cutlasses. There was a freeze on public recruitment. Teacher training allowances were abolished. Nursing training allowances were abolished. This is the result of giving the job to a mason who doesn't understand the plan or who doesn't have the competence to execute the plan. Kukurudu! Kukurudu! So, the people of Ghana listened to the MPP and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and handed over the reins of government to us after the 2016 general election. We told the people of Ghana that we are going to do 3 broad things. We are going to stabilize the economy, we are going to reduce the suffering of our people, and we are going to transform this economy into a modern, prosperous economy. This was our contract with the people of Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, what a difference 3 years of good, effective leadership can make in a country. Because after 3 years in office, just 3 years, we can say without any shadow of a doubt that we have fulfilled at least 72% of the promises that we made to the people of Ghana. We have, and listen carefully because some people didn't listen carefully. We have either delivered completely or we are delivering on 72%. And we are going to put the data out so that everybody will go promise by promise and see whether we are delivering or we have delivered. We'll put the data out. Because we have done the work, we have the data. So we'll put it out and we will see when you count the amount of promises we have delivered or are delivering, we would have chalked at least 72%. That is remarkable for any government in its first term of office. Very remarkable. And thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership in this matter. Kukrudu. So, how I said we are going to stabilize the economy, reduce suffering, and transform the economy. So how have we done this? Ladies and gentlemen, we have restored economic growth to this country. Ghana today is one of the fastest growing economies in the world for 2 years in a row. Agricultural growth is increasing 8.4%. Industry growth has moved from negative to positive. Inflation is on the decline, about half what it was when we came into office. Interest rates are on the decline. And exchange rate depreciation has been tamed. I know our opponents want to say that we have not managed the exchange rate. Well, but they just are not reading the data. If you look at the data, you will know that the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, when you look at the annual average depreciation of the cedi, since 1992, our government is the second best performing. The first is the government of President J.A. Kufuor during 2005 to 2008. So we have seen an average annual depreciation of our currency of 8.7%. When NDC was in power between 2013 and 2016, average annual depreciation was 18%. We had 8.7, you have 18%, and you are telling us we cannot manage it well. You must be joking. You must be joking. The fiscal deficit has come down. Trade balance is in surplus. Current account balance is improved. International reserves have increased. Our sovereign credit rating has gone up. All these are indicators that show that the health of the economy, the stability of the economy has been restored. So we've moved from there and we said, okay, we are stabilizing the economy. Now we want to reduce the suffering of our people. As we said when we came into 2017 and during the campaign, so many of our people were suffering. So many of our people were suffering across the board. And we said we will reduce that suffering. And thanks to the leadership of the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we are reducing that suffering. How are we reducing that suffering? The first thing we do is to build an economy that can create jobs and sustain jobs. In the public sector alone, we have recruited over 350,000 people, and we are paying them. That is money in their pockets, and that is reducing the suffering. If you are unemployed and you get a job, you will see the difference between those two states. So that is one way. Teacher trainees were suffering. We've given them teacher training allowance. Nursing trainees were suffering. We've given them nursing training allowance. It was difficult to apply for a passport because you had to deal with Goro boys Today, we have automated the process, and it is no longer difficult to apply for a passport. We have reduced their suffering. Getting a driver's license, we have digitized the process. It is no longer difficult, no suffering involved to get a driver's license. To renew your NHIS membership, there is no suffering. You can sit at home, put it in your mobile phone, and you have renewed your NHIS. There's no suffering involved. Today, doomsaw is not in our lexicon anymore, and we have reduced that suffering. Today, our government is the first government in the whole of the Fourth Republic to reduce electricity prices. First government, on net terms, when you look at where we were when we came in and electricity prices per kilowatt today, we are about 10% lower than where we were when we came in on average. So we are in very good shape on that. We've reduced import duties, reduced the suffering of many importers in bringing in goods by reducing import duties by 50%, and automated the process of clearing goods from the port and reduced the suffering of our importers. Even the taxes on kaya have been abolished, and we have reduced their suffering as a result. The Zongo communities have not been left out. We are implementing policies through the Zongo Ministry and the Zongo Development Fund to provide much-needed infrastructure in many Zongo communities to reduce their suffering. So the lack of ambulances is also being addressed by the President. We are introducing one constituency, one ambulance. And on January the 6th, the President will hand over 275 ambulances to 275 constituencies. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to know that we are not just going to release the ambulances. We are going to manage them digitally. This will be the first national ambulance service that is going to do digital management of all the ambulances. We are going to track each ambulance so we will know, sitting in Accra, where each ambulance is in the country, where each ambulance is, and then we will follow the maintenance of the ambulances and make sure. And what, ladies and gentlemen, has also happened within just the last week is that the work that is ongoing to integrate the emergency number, the 112 emergency. If you are calling police or ambulance or fire service, you call 112. We brought that number when we came into office, 112. We have now completed the work to integrate this 112 number with our digital postal address system. And that means that when you are in difficulty and you call an emergency number, police, fire service, or ambulance, they will know exactly the address from which you are calling this number starting next month. So sometimes you may have a problem. You cannot speak on the phone. But when you call the police, they will know that there is an emergency taking place at this particular number, and they will come and get it. Ghana is one of the few countries now in the world with this technology in place. So, Mr. President, we've reduced suffering. We've reduced the suffering of a lot of parents by doubling the capitation grant. We are absorbing the WACC registration fees, and we are absorbing the fees for postgraduate medical training. And we have also restored research allowances to our people. We are relieving the pain of sickle cell sufferers through the introduction of a drug like hydroxyurea. We are employing more disabled people for our toll booths. 50% of our toll booths are manned by disabled people. I could go on, but the point is that we have implemented social interventions that have reduced the suffering of our people. I have challenged the NDC They should give us one. Bakupe in their 8 years. 8 years of government. They should give us one social intervention they implemented to reduce the suffering of our people. They have not been able to, but they are supposed to be the Social Democratic Party. So we have fulfilled our promises. We've stabilized the economy. We have reduced suffering. We haven't eliminated suffering. We will still continue to do more. We haven't eliminated it. But we can say that under the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we have kept to our promises and implemented policies to reduce the suffering of our people. The third element of what we have promised the people is to transform the economy. And we have been embarked on this. The basic pillars of this transformation are in agriculture, industry, digitization, and infrastructure. The Planting for Food and Jobs program has been a major success. As has been said, today many staples, maize, cassava, plantain, we are not importing anymore because the policy has worked. And we hope, by the grace of God, in a few years, we will no longer import rice or chicken. And that is where we are going with this. So agriculture as a main pillar has been very important. And what I want you to know is that we came into government with a plan. In fact, Mr. President, I went back to our notes in 2015 to review the things we said we wanted to do in 2015. And I'm telling you, what we are doing are those things that the President said we should do way back in 2015.